I didn't follow any of the SourceFed stuff at all. I think on YouTube I was not watching that kind of stuff then. I think 'cause I was still watching like gameplay stuff. I was like exclusively in like Call of Duty walkthroughs or some stupid shit.
That's not stupid shit. I was into that too.
Can we talk about?
Don't lie.
Can we talk about SourceFed anime or whatever that? What was the anime show that you had on SourceFed?
SourceFed animated.
Yeah.
I think that was fantastic. We had Andre, this independent animator, make animations of short clips from things like our podcasts and our table talks, and they were very good because he was very good. The animator did everything. He really expanded the comedy from our behalf. So.
Not SourceFed animated. So,
Anime Club.
Anime Club. That's what it was called. Yeah.
Okay, sorry. I should have
I know none of these stuff.
I should have figured that out. Yeah.
With what was it? William Haynes? Is it?
William Haynes.
Yeah.
Because I can't remember who the original host was.
I remember when that came out.
Yeah.
And I was
man.
like, shit, I'm going to be out of business.
Yeah, actually, so Anime Club existed before me, and Meg Turney was doing it, and she kind of did it like...
All these names sound so familiar, but not quite. I don't have a face to put to them.
Meg Turney now is like a cosplayer.
And she's like a sexy model, and she's doing great. And we still keep in touch. I miss her a lot. She misses Japan. But yeah, so she started it, and I do believe they wanted to expand it, and it would obviously make sense if somebody who like has some kind of professional experience with anime was on it as well. On top of like being Japanese, that's kind of a no-brainer there.
Yeah.
So I was legitimately hired mainly to do that, to fill that role.
Right.
And it was just when she was on her way out, so I was like, I basically replaced her.
Yeah.
And then Will and I took it over, but it was fun. But it was really difficult because the style was supposed to be that I was the so-called expert kind of teaching the novice.
Yeah.
He has all these questions, but they're so very left field that like I didn't know how to kind of bring it back.
because I think all respect to Meg Turney, but because I remember when she was handling Anime Club, which was like season 1 of Anime Club. It's like. It started a lot of, let's say, controversial opinions within the anime community. Because I remember it was the first time where we saw like this kind of mainstream YouTuber try to like bring the anime culture to the wider mainstream audience. Nowadays, it's like pretty synonymous.
Every brand is like, hey, I like anime.
Everyone talks about anime now. But like,
we at Arby's love anime.
Back then, we had this like anime show that was like produced by, Philly D, or, he had his name involved with SourceFed, and this was like the most mainstream anime had gotten to any YouTuber. And, all my love to Meg, there was like some episodes where like some lines were said. Well, I can't remember if it was her or like her guest host.
Yeah.
Where where they called I think they called Fullmetal Alchemist a shoujo anime.
Oh. I could feel the unbridled grudge in you as you're talking. Like
you remember how anime fans were back in the day, right? They saw this medium as like a fucking holy ground.
Yeah.
So
I think it didn't help as well that the show itself was like probably the most well produced out of like any AniTube content out at the time. So it just felt like, yes, I too watch anime, younger generation.
Yeah, because I felt like it wasn't her fault. It was just the fault of just, I think the way the show was set up just wasn't the right way to like really embrace the medium of anime or like introduce it to a new audience.
Totally.
But I'll say this, like what you and William did, you made like it was a huge improvement, right? Because I feel like the chemistry was a lot better, but like what I wanted to ask is that, going into this, did you know about all the negative feedback that you'd gotten from like anime fans?
As a translator, I was already pretty connected to a lot of different anime sites, so I was well aware isn't the right way to say it. I was aware, but putting a face to the opinion is a whole nother world. And the backlash is quite scary. However, exactly how you said, I think people were quite excited about the improvement, and there's a lot less you can criticize to a translator.
Yeah.
So and also I'm like actually Japanese, so that like kind of mattered in their eyes as well. That's also like another creepy thing about anime fans, right? Like especially back in the day, there's like so much more nerd cred if like you're actually Japanese. That means you can watch it without.
Joey's like, is there?
I would argue that still exists.
No, it does. It totally does.
Right? No, it does. It does. Yeah, I was trying to be like modest about it, but that mattered, and I think that overrode any major criticisms. And also, again, I was already in that sphere, so I was conscious of what to say, what not to say. If Will said something weird, I'd go to the producer and the editor and be like, "You got to cut that out."
Because like I've always been curious because no disrespect to Meg, it felt like you did take a lot of the criticisms that they had gotten and really use that to improve the show. And I was wondering if it was like a conscious decision.
Very conscious.
Okay,
yes, very conscious. Because so it really was unfair to Meg because she was the only person in the entire building that even knew anything about anime. The editors didn't know, so she had to source all the photos herself.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, I did too after I took over, but there was no producer that oversaw what was correct or incorrect or knew the sub audience or like knew how to like hunt Reddit for it and stuff like that. So I came in and I kind of started from the backlog, and I was, due to the research, I knew everything that would make sense, would maybe hit, would be bad. Is Will gonna understand? Like that was also the other tether, right? Like you have to make sure that the novice character is going to be able to kind of follow it as well without having to use like
because I guess he needs to like channel people who are watching the video that don't know anything about it.
Right. But again, sometimes he was so random that it was hard to be like, nobody's thinking that. Like, nobody thinks that. Like, don't ask that.
So it sounds like before it was the situation where like the kid is like, the teacher's like, that one kid's good at computers, he can fix everything, right?
Yeah, that's exactly what it felt
get him
like.
in.
That is exactly what it felt like. It felt like Meg just got put in there because she was the only one that knew anything about anime at all.
And it's awful because it was such a passion project of hers, and she wanted to do it as a fan. But you have to get technical. You have to, especially if you don't have a producer and an editor that's going to fix it on your behalf after you're done. She wanted it to be opinionated and fun and what she likes, and that would have worked maybe now, but that was so not the case on a platform like SourceFed. So I don't know. It's just like it just did not work.
I feel like you were like that idea was a few years ahead of its time in terms of a talk show about anime that could really do well on YouTube now. I feel like back then it was just there was no way. It was really hard to get new people into anime, especially on YouTube. And a lot of the backlash you got were just from anime fans, being like, okay, no, we don't want this to be the representation of what anime fans are. And now I just think, man, anime fans were pretty fucking toxic back then as well.
I mean, they still are. Love you guys, but we are.
Love you guys. I feel like early YouTube, they were like next level.
Well, yeah, because I think at that point, again, like it was like Gaunt's saying, right? It was like the Holy Grail. It was like this protected thing where it was like it was theirs and it had been like tarnished.
I kind of understand that though. Like when I was younger and I was in Japanese school in New Jersey, when Pokemon came to the States, I was like, that's ours. Like, what are you doing? His name is Ash. Like, no. Like, you know what I mean? Like, even as a kid, like I kind of understood that exclusivity thing. So I also like as an anime fan, I understood anime fans, and I actually surprisingly didn't get as much hate, especially throughout SourceFed. They were actually very happy that I existed, so I was super lucky there. Got a lot of hate in Crunchyroll.
I think it was just because it was so obvious that you were just a weeb through and through. People just saw you and they were just like, okay, she is one of us.
Yeah, you weren't.
I got accepted.
You weren't trying to pretend to be a weeb. You were a weeb.
Yeah, a lot of the time with these company videos, there's so much of it is like, hi guys, we love the thing that you love, right? It's kind of wacky, huh? This thing's wacky too. Oh, you guys, this is so wacky.
FMA, my favorite shoujo.
FML, this was a cringe moment, right, guys?
I wanted to give people the benefit of the doubt back then, and there was like that thing that got that was in one show, and I think the other thing was one of them was talking about Bakano. Yeah. And I think the guy who was new there, he said, it kind of feels like a ripoff to FMA, right? Because there's Bakano said on a train, and there's an episode of FMA that said on a train. And even that was like the spacebar moment for me as well.
I was like, hold up.
And I just think you did such a good job, because this is the environment that you came into to have to prove people that, okay, there is an actual big improvement to this show, and you did a great job.
Does that video still exist on YouTube?
Sorry?
Does that video still exist on YouTube?
I think season 1 of Anime Club is not on YouTube anymore.
So like Train to Busan it's a little bit of a rip-off of Hogwarts, because they're both on a train, right?
So unfortunately, you're just gonna have to take my word. But anyone who watched SourceFed back in the day in the anime community knows that was like shared around.
Yeah.